Yeah. Okay. Let me introduce myself. I am representing IAPAR, which is International Association for Performing Arts and Research, IAPAR.
Okay.
And we are based in Pune, which is in the western part of India. It is near Mumbai.
Mm.
And it is considered, Pune city is considered as the cultural and educational hub of India. So there are
Okay.
several educational institutions and universities in Pune, and I am born and brought up in Pune, so this is my hometown. And I studied theater in New Delhi at the National School of Drama a
Okay.
long time ago, and then I came back to my city, and I've been working here for last 30 years now. So and I've been teaching. I was working as a dean for a university in Pune called Flame University. I was dean for performing arts, and in 2013, I decided to get out of a job kind of scenario and start working on my own. And I founded this organization. And we are very young in that sense. We started in end of 2013. And since then, there is a group of very young, dynamic people who comes together. And we work in, I mean, that is the reason why this interdisciplinarity is very close to my heart. We
Mm.
work in multiple areas. We work with children, we work with adults, we create performances, we host an international festival every year.
Mm.
So there are several things that we keep on doing. I have been teaching. I've been teaching for last 3 decades. I teach at several universities in India, several theater organizations in India. I work as guest director as well for some of the institutions. So that is what I am. And this looking at this interdisciplinary aspect is something that I love the most. And in I'll just give you a slight background that in India, education is much more rigid as compared to what we see in the Western and European universities, and
Okay.
even what I have seen in the Eastern Asian universities. Our university structure is much more rigid. Students are in a way almost not allowed to think or look beyond their chosen area. So if I want to study, say, accountancy, and I also like music, I cannot do that at all. I mean, if and the limitations are very peculiar. That it is almost like even socially it is a kind of compulsion that if you are studying something, then you should not be looking at other areas. Fortunately, in last 1 decade, it has started changing, and people have started opening up to this idea of not getting stuck with one thing. Because people, I've seen several people at the age of 60 when they're retiring from some big company as vice president of finance, and they say, actually, I wanted to become a poet. And it becomes like, then who stopped you? But that's how culturally and socially we have grown up in the last century. And I mean, if I may say so, the roots we find in the colonial time frame, when the entire education system in India was structured in such a way that would churn out the clerical staff for the British Raj as a support system. So, and after independence, we haven't managed to change that much. So that is our scenario, and that is where I come from. I would also like to hear from all of you about yourself and about your work, and then we can continue. So, anyone, Peng or Edin, am I pronouncing the names right? Please correct me if
Yes.
I'm wrong.
Yeah, yes, you are. Thank you. We, as a joining partner from 2018 in ITI as a member, we have been following this structural change and as well this problem with COVID as well. Structured our talk and living in such circumstances which are online. The basic problems about online is that the academy that I run in a small state of Montenegro within the Europe is probably the same as yours, because even though we have a vaccine now, we have problem of getting back, especially on drama schools, because some things are long gone in this online platform, especially the theory subjects, and that's a big pity, because before this I have a class on media studies and whatsoever. But in the terms of this special room connected with interdisciplinarity, I find it very much important, just because of the COVID circumstances, in terms that we shouldn't be dependent only on the disciplinarity of theater as a basis for our activities, but on the other aspects, because we are totally now virtualize our embodiment in this online environment, and the presence in this environment is becoming something totally different. I am not overwhelmed by the status that we are living today. The theater belongs to the physical space, but it happens like this. So interdisciplinarity in this way could become of help in the terms to connect different disciplines and to deepen the methodology that we use, but not just stay on just a platform of internet anymore. This interdisciplinarity means probably the new connectivity, and as a result of all of this, I think that new complex connectivity becomes on stage, which is very important, because we previously we have constructed our environments only and solely in this environment on physical space. Now we have to interdisciplinary project this space much more bigger, let's say, and try and not in this teaching methods, but in this fields of intervention, I suppose. So it could be done if we make a focus on the new spaces, which are now becomes virtual space. So it happens in our academy that we, for the first time last year, we have online show of the students. And it happens that one of the biggest Montenegrin directors in theaters, which is very traditional guy, traditionally in the meetings, the resources that he used in National Theater, for the first time in his life, he has been producing or directing the theater performance in online spaces, but not bringing them in one space. They really have been put it in this context of new space, and for him it was totally different kind of experience, very different one. And it happens that we have some certain knowledge of the new let's say experience in this field, and that what we have been experiencing, and that's why I have that we have to think about deepening this interdisciplinarity spectrum of possibilities, not just to think of them like COVID circumstances, or it could become a little bit bigger. So those are my, let's say, thoughts about the interdisciplinarity in this stage of the civilization and art. So yeah.
Thank you, Edin. Feng, would you like to say or make the first step?
Yes, I'm from Shanghai Theatre Academy, and right now I am a teacher, a professor of arts education and arts therapy. So right now, I do a lot of research and practice of drama therapy. I went to New York to do research with Richard Schachner, and also with Robert Landy. Robert Landy, he is the famous professor of drama therapy. He invented role theory and role method, which is the main branch of drama therapy. So after I do research in NYU and I brought their experiences and method to China and to lead my students to do some research and practices and cooperated with the mental center of Shanghai, the mental hospital, or Shanghai mental health center in Shanghai. Like we do the research, how to use the drama to help the young people who was affected by like depression, anxiety, using drama therapy to help them how to get to know themselves deeper and how to develop a more balanced role, their role system. How to develop a more balanced role system of themselves. So after I do research on the drama therapy, I found that in China, because China has a long history of poetry, right now we even can read and understand the poetry 3,000 years ago of China. Yes, right now. And many poetry so beautiful, and the poetry is describing the daily feeling and daily emotions when how we get love with each other, how we defend, or how we protect our home, protect our homeland. So a lot of good poetry, which we when we lead people to read the poetry, and when we even sometimes we singing the poetry, it can really help us to resonate with our ancestors and resonate with each other. So like adding our leader of this group, I don't know how to pronounce your name. It
is Vidyanidhee.
Vidyanidhee.
You can just call Vidya.
Oh, Vidya. Okay, Vidya.
Vidya
Right.
is
Okay, like yes, the our group leader or group organizer said, right now we are facing our whole human being is actually facing the pandemic. Yeah, right. The COVID difficult situation. The same thing happening in China right now. A lot of people, because of this COVID pandemic, and they are facing a lot of difficulties in their life, in their in their work. So right now we really we are using this art method, including drama and poetry, help them to release their negative emotions and help them to promote more positive emotions, and try to understand more about what we can do, what we should do in this difficult situation. Let them not emerge, or not just get more deeper and deeper in their difficulties, but let them understand we can do something different with this artistic method, or including drama method or poetry method, to see actually the difficulties we are facing has been experienced by our ancestors, and they using the artistic ways to help them to get more confident with the difficult situation. So we get the more positive emotions from the artistic works. So that's what I'm doing right now.
wonderful. That's wonderful. Mandar, are you there? Mandar Zog? I'm not sure if he's there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
Can you switch on your camera so that everyone would be able to see you? Yeah. Great. So would you like to share your thoughts about interdisciplinary approach in theater, and whatever you would like to say. I personally know Mandar. We both belong to the same country. He lives in different states, but we have been working together occasionally. Yes, Mandar.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Mandar. I'm from Goa, India. Professionally, I'm working as a high school teacher.
Okay.
My major subjects are languages,
Okay.
and drama is a passion for me. For last some 15-20 years, I have been associated with one of the groups in Goa called House Sangeet Natya Mandal, and we perform as a group in Goa and outside Goa as well. So personally, for me, this is very interesting because without having a clear plan while teaching, I often end up using many of the techniques I learn while I do theater. So
Sorry,
it is.
sorry to interrupt. The voice gets lower. Yeah, maybe.
Hello,
Yeah,
is it audible?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
much
So
better.
what happens is, yeah. So what happens is, uh, right now when I teach, I'm in the class. What happens is, unknowingly, I end up using many of the theater techniques to improve my work in the class, or to improve my delivery in the class, and I see that all the kids get engaged in it. So, which is very interesting topic as such for me. We have been trying certain things, I mean, on my own. Then we have also tried to work out some performances which would help in education. uh, but that is how this subject is very interesting for me, and I'm still trying to explore more about this interdisciplinarity, as especially now when there is new education policy is being talked about in India. I feel knowing this approach and trying to utilize this approach more, we would be able to get to the thing which Prasad sir was talking about, regarding the age-old education which we have been getting in India. So that is why this is very interesting and very important topic for me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mandar. Just for the information of Peng and Edin, I am also known as Prasad in my country. So even though my name is Vidyanidhee, these people might refer to me as Prasad. So that's me. Just I have these funny scenario of two names. Mrinalini, are you there? Would you like to say something? Can you switch on your camera, please?
Hi, yes, I am here. But is it okay if I keep my camera shut because it is showing that my network is unstable? So is it okay?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. 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 So in the beginning, very happy to be here with all the theater practitioners and researchers. I tried to attend the sessions in this conference as much as I could on the very first day also. And so today, when I heard about this particular session, interdisciplinarity, it got my attention because I myself, let me first tell you that I'm Vidyanidhee's Prasad's wife. And so, so as such, I have been watching his theater and the way he does theater quite closely, and I myself have been interested in theater for since my younger days. And but I have also been a student of other disciplines as philosophy and ecology and Sanskrit, which is our ancient language, and also Indology, which is a study of ancient India. And these all these disciplines in a way gave me an opportunity to study not only those disciplines but all the interdisciplinary approaches that these disciplines demand. Because if you look at these disciplines. For example, ecology. Ecology in itself is a interdisciplinary field. Very many subjects, very many fields, disciplines come together to make the body of this discipline as ecology. And it is very interesting to see how different disciplines they merge together and how ultimately they form their own methodologies, how they form their own theories, etc. And when I heard about interdisciplinarity in the context of theater, I was interested in it because I wanted to know how theater practitioners, theater people, they look at interdisciplinary aspects, how they think of other disciplines, and how they also look at theater as their own discipline, and for them how these disciplines they come together. So this is my interest in this particular session.
Thank you, Mrinalini. I think Simon has joined us back. Am I pronouncing your name correct?
Yes, you're pronouncing it right. Yeah, I fell out before. Yeah. Yes.
So would you like to introduce yourself and generally tell us about your
Yes.
interests and work, and about your take about this interdisciplinarity and things?
Yeah. So yes, I am studying at the moment at the Zurich University, and I'm studying acting. And before that, I was studying physical theater at the Academia Teatro Dimitri, which is also part of the network. And the reason why I joined this meeting was that physical theater in self is a rather multidisciplinarity way of doing theater. It is focusing on movements, but like this also including things like music, dance, pantomime, and also speech theater into a own theater universe. And now during my master studies, I would like to find my own way how to create physical theater. So that's why I was also interested to hear what your thoughts are on that and how you are working in the interdisciplinary field in theater.
Wonderful. Great. Just to come back to what we started with this, I would like to share one experience while working with students, and I believe that one experience made me think a lot about this interdisciplinary approach in theater education. When I was teaching at the university, I was directing a play called Dangal Nama, which was a kind of account of sectarian riots that have happened in India since 1985. And I had asked the students to write about their memory or experience of these sectarian riots. In India, we have many a times we had very strong kind of religious riots at some points in time, and we have suffered a lot because of that in the last 100 years. So these students started writing something, and it was very interesting that they were very young, and some of them were not even clearly aware about the history of what has actually happened, why this kind of riot happens now, if it happens. And this is, I'm talking about in 2007, 8. And it in a way triggered all of us while creating the performance to talk about the history of our country, to talk about the sociology and social development aspects in our country. It compelled us to talk about religion in our country. It compelled us to talk about secularism, the way it is looked at in India. It compelled us to look at psychology and cultural anthropology as well in that entire process. And by the time we created the piece, it was like the students definitely learned several things about theater making and how to make a play, how to devise a performance, and how to put it on stage, and set design and lighting and costume and everything. But along with that, they were having more understanding and insight of the context in which they are performing this play, why they are creating this piece, why do we feel that we need to talk about it. And I feel that that is something that happens only when we look at these other possibilities or other aspects, um, um, especially when one talks about content creation in theater. Then for developing that kind of content, how do we do that? It is not like there is some fabulous playwright who has a God's gift of writing and he writes amazing plays. Yes, that might happen, but at the same time, something more happens in his mind or her mind, of that playwright's mind. And as theater practitioner, as actor, as director, one needs to understand what that is. The way, if I'm directing a play, the way my upbringing, my surroundings, my circumstances would come into picture when I'm actually working with students or with actors. Similarly, one needs to look at these other aspects, and that particular experience of creating that production, it almost made me like, this is something, this has been missing in our education, in our theater training. I mean, when I was a student of theater, I did everything from carpentry to makeup to scenic design to lights and to understanding the basics of electricity and physics of light and everything. But we didn't have subjects like psychology. Many a times now I say that when actors, at least in our context, when actors say that I studied the psychology of that character, most of the times it is about my perception of that character, to which I call psychology of that character. It may not be the same, it might be different, but if I haven't studied or looked at psychology as a discipline, I do not understand the difference between these two. There is nothing wrong in either. There is nothing wrong in either, but do I understand this? Because if I understand this, there is a possibility that I would also look at the other part which I have missed out. And I feel that is something that is very important. As Peng was talking about the his work with the mental health people, or the people having depression and those kind of uncomfortable scenarios within. Now, unless I think of this possibility that when I say that drama makes me happy, play theater makes me happy, then can it be used for something different? Is it possible? Now then that idea of interdisciplinarity starts creeping in. That is what I feel. Or as Edin was talking about, this entire new virtual reality, it sounds very funny, virtual reality, but whatever we are sitting in right now, these small windows, this compels us to think about the entire idea of theater making in a different way. I mean, and initially I believe none of us were very sure about what is the different way. How are we going to do it? And are we going to do anything on this platform? Do we want to? I mean, I hear this many a times in India that we don't want to do anything online. And I also hear that no, we have to go online. Now, my question is, either is okay, but do I understand what is online? Or am I just going there with my knowledge of theater and just putting it in front of a screen? And would it work? Or do I need to look at it in slightly different way if I want to do it? If I don't want to do it, then maybe that's fine, that's okay. But am I stopping myself from learning something new? I might decide to not to do it after learning it, but am I at least open to that idea? That is my feeling. Sorry, I spoke a lot. I'm sorry. Eh, Anyone who wants to respond or
It was interesting to me to learn what is, of course, your relation with the aspects, especially this learning process of yours, and as well this connection what David have with this kind of multidisciplinarity of his research. And I think that this part of the theater, which has a healing effect to the society could be, I don't know, methodologically used in different fields, especially in this COVID era. And my experiences in this field is the most, let's say, pleasurable theater that I do as a producer. But only I done it only with a very distinguished and very precise social group. Those have been young people with a problem with the law, and there was older people with a problem with the law. So in we have been working in the prison for elders and the prison for youngsters, and that kind of intervention gives us insight of the, when the performance was over, the real insight of the healing effect of the theater, because we have been putting this time of theirs in the perspective of what they could do and what they could realize throughout the process. And it happens that in this prison for the children, we have done for first show in my life that has the effect of total catharsis of the audience. And that means that half of the audience has been crying. I never see this in the traditional theater. I never, because I work for Montenegro National Theater, it's a national stage. And like it's very important for this verbal going theater, but this applied theater gives me the insight how this form of theater, which is socially very interactive, could be more, let's say, pleasurable as well to do, because you don't working with a professional environment. You work in social environment, which is much more challenging for your expectation. And that's the result that I saw. And whatever I speak about the activism in theater in the terms of this kind of interdisciplinarity approach, I really understand as a healing effect of the theater. And what David has told us, it could be used very direct in various circumstances and in various platforms, and but the basics are the social group that you're targeting, because then you can approach them very precisely with measurements, with the strategy to get the best results. And that what happens in the whenever I came out in some kind of intervention outside of the theater within the specific social group, I get much more greater results than in the national theater. I'm sorry to be so avant-garde, but it happens to me. So that's why I'm really now working. I'm the dean of the faculty, but I don't like to work anymore in national theater, in this structured based policy governance and whatsoever. It becomes really boring, and I'm now just doing a theater which is proactive in a social environment where there is no theater at all, especially on the north part of the country. I go where the theater is totally forgotten, and we place the theater performance there. Sometimes the reaction is totally zero, but sometimes you see the interest of people to get involved, to make a questions, and just a little question, not big ones, what happens there, but just open themselves to make a question for a long time. And that's, I think, it's the marginal production of theater which has to be placed everywhere, because the traditional theater doesn't reach all. It just reach the general audience, the spectators that are used to go to canapes and everything, but it not reach the real life people, real life, I don't know, situation. That's what I'm interested in. involving different kind of social groups, and that I think you can give the therapy, theater therapy, to the therapist within the COVID structures now built, because they are psychologically totally crazy in these days, because the pressure of the system to sustain the COVID and the economy, you can go in commerce chamber of Montenegro and make a theater there, because it's will help them, I suppose, to realize that the oppression of the COVID, or oppression of the everyday life, it could be in some certain way helped by the theater involvement, not just as a spectator, but as a real interventionist within the process. So those are some of my experience about the traditional theater, and my further focuses, not just as a producer, but as I involve some LGBTIQ person on my academy. Now, for the first time ever, we brings the people, show to them, and say, "This is your space. Let's begin with talk. Let's begin with exchange of dialogue for the first time in this society. Why not? Nothing will happen. We will just talk. We will not make a war about it, because you're different. It's okay." So that's the first steps that we do within our society.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very inspired by like Vidyanidhee and adding, both of your sharing really inspired me. And especially I want to give response to what adding your cases of practice and research, and especially in the prison theater, right? Prison theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking and what I'm doing right now, because I'm doing a lot of research project with the scientist of psychology right now in Shanghai, I cooperated with like the psychiatrists and also the psychological professors, and many of them have attended my workshop of drama therapy and poetry therapy, and they was very moved and get touched. Their emotional movement activities really has been stimulated by my practice, and they are helping me to learn their psychological way of doing research. And actually, like what I shared just now, my workshop with 8 adolescents of depression, and the professor who was a female psychiatrist, and she helped me to set up 3 violet. One is emotional level, like happy, negative, or positive emotional. So we have a measurable table. A measure table. I don't know if I make sense. Using the psychological measure table to help us to know, before this adolescent be influenced by us, what their emotional level at the very beginning. And then after our intervention and our workshop, what is what difference they have made of their emotional level. So with the violet before and before the workshop and after the workshop, so we can compare the data and help. So when we write the paper, especially when I finished the scientific paper with the psychiatrist, I was really I think the paper with the data have more persuasive power, or have can persuade more people about what we can do in our artistic therapy workshop or healing workshop. So the three violet, first is the emotional level. The second violet is the interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication, like the adolescent with depression, they don't want to communicate with people. Yeah, they just want to stay in their rooms and don't want to connect with people. And later, maybe they will just don't like themselves. They don't want to live their life. So a lot of people with the depression, many of the depression people will get suicide. So in this workshop, what we have helped them of this interpersonal communication. So this is the second violet. The third violet is self-function. Self-function. Yeah. So in my workshop with these 8 adolescent with depression, we gave them 6 session workshop. Each session we have 3. In each session we have 3 hours. So that means we have 18 hours of intervention. So in each before every session, the psychiatrist, my partner, they do using their scientific way of psychology to measure their status in these 3 elements or 3 violets. And then every time we get data, and so after finish these 6 sessions, we also do this measurable data, and also we interview them. Not only interview their interview the participants, this adolescent, we also interview their father, their mother. What kind of change, what kind of behavior change in their life, not only at home but also in school. So after getting data, this quantitative, right, and a qualitative, qualitative and a quantitative elements. So we finished a very good paper. So this is really a good example. I think it's a good example of the interdisciplinary research of our dramatic therapy, and also maybe poetry therapy. No matter what kind of artistic way. So we need to give a more scientific report to the person outside of our drama circle. That's all.
You had raised your hand. You wanted to say something?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Simon, you had raised your hand, I believe. Earlier.
Yeah, thank you. I was just raising my hand because I wanted to react to the thing that Edin said, or it was more a question that I had also to his work. Because in one project that I work in, I am working with people who are searching for asylum in Switzerland. And we did a piece where we are telling together with them, so it's us on stage, but also them, we are telling stories about refuge and being and migration. And so the question that I had to you, if I understood you right, you are producing a piece, and then you are going to a certain place, to a certain audience that you want to address. And then I was my question was because it was it's like a different approach that we have. The approach that we had is that we were rehearsing together with them, and then we are showing the piece to an audience which not necessarily is an audience which has an experience in migration in that sense. So I wanted to ask, your approach seems to be differently, and how do you create your piece in order to get in touch with the audience you're trying to reach?
I speak about two projects, very separated one, but the target groups were like intervention in this community of prisoners, of youngsters and older prisoners. And yes, the experiences is there. We go through procedure of very security procedure because they would not escape. But what the prisoners have, they have experience and they have time. And this performance with the real prisoners was in the prison.
Oh,
and yeah. Was with the people that kill some other people, and was with with very strange social backgrounds and so. But to just refer to David's research, and I think it's very important that this kind of social intervention theater, as well, all other, especially in Italy, there is a lot of on the second wave of migration in Italy happens the same things with migrants and so on. I have done a lot of migrants theater as well with Berlin and Roma in Rome in Italy. All of those flows of migrants are also important, and this approach of yours, which is much more based about the real life documentaries of those people going through the borders, but in prison they lie to you about their lives because they are in prison very unjustifiably, and those lives that they tell you is also not their real life. So that's why I said that there is a lot of let's say cathartic, Aristotle cathartic in this, because they lie about themselves. And what is important, David pointed out that it's very important that these researches of different social group be, let's say, put it in the perspective of numbers and to show to the others in academia as well, and to be presentable for the decision makers, how much of their this social theater should be done, or theater in interdisciplinary fields, because I really find it appropriate much more than this traditional structure of the theater, which has the idea to educate somebody, to have this national pride of I don't know, constitutional theory of the government and so on, because we saw that those social groups are much more in danger than the national state. The national state will stay together with Jean-Paul, with Molière and with Shakespeare, but let's deal with the aspect what the theater really could do. And one good example, I all the time telling it as a joke, it's very personal, very emotional one. This youngster, which has 6 years old in prison, we have been going through 2 months of, let's say, rehearsals and whatsoever. But he asked, before entering to the professional stage, he asked me, he said, should I swear more? Should I swear just a little bit to have, fun? Or should I really swear that they see that I'm a criminal? And I say, look at, just optimize as you see how the audience will react. So socially, he has been through these stages, what David said, which has been, his repositioning of the social structure that he creates about himself, and that repositioning it's highly important, because the theater could change the person much more than the structural system of the institution that Michel Foucault, speaking about the panopticon, biopower, and I don't know, so on. Just a small human intervention throughout the theater. So my idea is that we go along much more deeper in this intervention, or this kind of models of theater, because I really think that this traditional structure government model of theater, I'm not against the government, I work for the government, but I say this, let's say, occupation of the because we on our academy we have professionals in theater, and everything is professional, but this field could be more dynamic with intervention in different areas, and in different, very structured, very focused social groups. We have now tried with the migrants, Simon, and we have done it with them, especially with the not the Roma people, but people, Egyptians and Roma in our Montenegro society is different than the Roma people from Italy, but Roma people. And we have been going through all of Europe with them. They interpreted their ethnic stories and to translate it. But when we bring our migrants, which don't have a citizenship status, we have been in Hamburg, for example, and we have saw the people in cages, So we treat our migrants or people with no citizenship much more better than in Germany, because those migrants lives in the cages in the very cities. So what we have to do is to try to get involved with the problems of the society, much more bigger than the, I'm sorry to say, Shakespeare or Molière, because they are just like images of some thoughts of boulevard drama, but the citizenship problems becomes a real struggle. Not in Montenegro, it's better situation in Montenegro than in Italy or in Germany concerning immigrants, because those strong and big nations could not deal with such a problem in such a manner that is humanizing. If we can make this not political theater, but some kind of intervention which could be interdisciplinary, which could be, exchange and we can profit from the different kind of intervention that we do in this field. I'm certain about it, and that's my, I don't know, perception about the interdisciplinarity as a method, as a fighting tool from theater.
Yeah, I just want to give a short feedback to adding and Simon, what you mentioned about the immigrant theater, and just from my personal experience, it's really helpful for us to cooperate with other professionals. Like in my practice of the drama therapy, poetry therapy, I work with the psychologist, and so maybe in adding in your practice of the prisoner theater, or like in Simon, your immigrant theater, yes, maybe we can work with the social scientist, social scientist, using their way of explanation and research method. It's really take time for us to master a scientific method, yeah, to how to design a research, how to get data, and how to analyze the data. Yeah, right now I'm take a lot of courses of the scientific psychological courses, like the experimental psychology and other courses. But really, it's good for us. It will be good for us to invite some scientists to join our project, and then we can cooperate to do the
David, I think
interdisciplinary.
those are wonderful ideas, and we in this we shown how much is where are the possibilities, but we get info that we will be closed in 30 or less seconds. So greetings to you all, especially our chief of the group. Nice to meet you, and hope that we could exchange our ideas and mails and so on.
Yeah,
we must keep
the
in
same
touch
idea.
on email.